Welcome to The Awakened Heart, a podcast for healing women, a place where your voice matters, your body is sacred, and your journey home to yourself is honored, no matter how winding and bumpy this wonderful road may be. I'm Autumn Moran, licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, life coach in Texas and beyond, yoga instructor, and ultimately your companion on this divine sacred path we call healing. I do virtual therapy and life coaching. If you like what you hear, if you want to dive deeper, if you want to talk, if you want to meet and work together, find my link tree in the show notes, fill out a consultation form, and let's have a free 15-minute chat to see if we're a good fit. All right. This epi is for every woman who's ever whispered, "Why can't I feel better yet?" And for every woman healing in silence on her own timeline or in her own way. This is for you. If you've been doing the work, reading the books, listening to the podcast, going to therapy, saying your affirmations, journaling until you've got the worst hand cramps, or meditating even when your mind races, like if you feel like you're doing all the things and you still feel nothing, somewhat flat or just completely flat, unmoved, shut down, like you're watching your own life through frosted glass. This is what this episode's about. This is for you because today I'm talking about the most confusing part of healing when you're doing everything quote unquote right, but your heart still feels locked away somewhere distant. When progress looks like understanding but doesn't feel like breakthrough. When your mind gets it, but your body is still saying, not yet. You're not broken, my dear, and you're not failing, and you're definitely not alone. I want to start with a truth that rarely gets airtime in the wellness world, and that's numbness. And that numbness is not a failure. It's not a sign of failing. It's not a sign of not healing. It's not a sign that you're broken, resistant to healing, or doing something wrong. It's often a sign that your nervous system is doing exactly what it's designed to do, and that's to keep you safe. When you talk about emotional numbness and healing, it's often described how trauma specialists identify it as dorsal vagal shutdown. This is a state where your nervous system has essentially pulled the emergency brake. The ripcord has been pulled. This is when your body says, feeling is too much, so let's not. Let's just pause everything until further notice. Let's just wait and see if this is safe. I don't know about this. This is unfamiliar, and I'm not choosing it because it's unfamiliar. Our history has taught me that if in the calm comes a storm, right? So your nervous system is just saying, let's pause. The shutdown often happens for good reasons. So like if you grew up in a home where big feelings were unsafe, ignored, or punished, if you learn that your tears made others uncomfortable, heaven forbid someone let you express yourself. If expressing joy or excitement was met with like criticism or told to be calmed down or go away, dismissal, right? Then of course feeling anything would feel dangerous. Of course your system would be like, nah, not yet, right? Let's go quiet. Let's wait and see what this show's got to show or give us. It's not the absence of emotion. Numbness is your nervous system's pause button. It's your body saying, we'll come back to this when we know it's truly safe, when we're sure no one will hurt us for having feelings. But I understand you want to feel. You want to cry during therapy. You want to have that cathartic breakthrough. You want to feel relief or release or just something in your heart center. And when it doesn't happen, when you sit through therapy and you talk about your trauma, you're reading a grocery list, when you do breath work and feel nothing, When you try to journal and the page stays empty, it can feel like proof that something that something is fundamentally wrong with you. I mean, it can definitely feel like that. But I'm going to say this clearly, loudly, gently, so you mean it, so you know I mean it. There is nothing wrong with you. This numbness, this is what intelligent survival looks like. This is your system being so smart, so protective, that it would rather feel nothing than risk feeling too much in an unsafe world. It's not withholding healing from you. It is healing. It's just happening in a way that doesn't look like the movies, TV, social media, your favorite influencer. And something that's really hard and something that's just really not understood or talked about or acknowledged is that when we're healing, many of us start our healing journey while we're still in survival mode. Maybe while we're still in a survival situation, right? We so desperately want the opposite of what we're experiencing. So let's dive in. Let's fix it. We begin therapy in the middle of a divorce. We start yoga while our finances are crumbling. Or Pilates these days, right? That's the new trend. You're fancy if you do Pilates. I mean, I love Pilates, no doubt. A mat Pilates class, ooh, love it. Call me cheap, call me whatever, judge me if you will, but I'm not going to pay a whole bunch of money for a class. If it's more than $20, I'm out. I'm out. It's not my fault your equipment's expensive. Don't put that price tag on me. Like, gyms can have all that equipment. You know, I'm off my high horse. I love Pilates people. I respect it. Please don't come after me. This is just my humble opinion. I love Pilates. I love body movement. I support people making money, and I understand. I was just griping. Here we go. So maybe you start a sport when you're hard on finances and you need to buy some equipment or buy classes. Maybe you discover breath work between caring for aging parents and working 2 jobs or working a job or trying to live and survive. You read trauma books while your nervous system is still on high alert in a current season that is throwing trauma at you all over the place, triggers at you all over the place. We are healing while we still need our armor. So if you're expecting yourself to be deeply embodied, fully in present, and weeping with catharsis while your life still requires you to be vigilant, protected, and strong, I think you might be holding yourself to an impossible standard. Let go of that expectation. Meet yourself where you're at. Healing happens in phases. It's not a straight line. It's very much like grieving. And with healing comes grief. And grieving is not linear. I'm talking about stages of grief: anger, bargaining, acceptance, depression. So many emotions that can come up at any time, can feel like they're healed and then not. Excuse my animals walking around. They're playing. Anyway, we do things when our current stressors are readily prevalent. And the easier you are on yourself, the more compassion you have with yourself, the better it is, the more life you're living. And healing, as when it comes in phases, there are 3 phases. So aside from grieving, you've got phase 1, safety and stabilization. This is where we learn that we're not currently dying, that we can breathe, that the lion's not behind us, the tiger's not there, the dinosaur's not there. We learn that we can function. This phase often looks like numbness because feeling is still too risky. Your nervous system isn't settled, isn't quite trustworthy. Phase 2, remembrance and mourning. This is where we can start to thaw out, where some of our feelings begin to return, often very messily, often unpredictably. This is where the real emotion work begins. This is some hard shit, right? And then we've got phase 3, reconnection and integration. This is where we learn to feel and stay present, where we can hold complexity, where aliveness returns. And honestly, most of us expect to jump straight to phase 3 just by reading a book, just by going to a few sessions with a therapist or life coach, just by breathing deeply for a month or so, wearing the right colors, saying the right things. But your nervous system knows better. If you're in phase 1, if you're still in shutdown, still feeling numb, still going through the motions, that doesn't mean you're failing. That means you're exactly where you need to be. You're healing even when it doesn't feel like it. You're healing when you choose safety over intensity. You are healing when you protect your energy, and I mean honor your energy with what it is, instead of forcing yourself to feel any other way than what you feel. Because sometimes survival has to come first. And that's wisdom. That's not failure. And survival doesn't look the same for every person. Your survival is yours to define. We live in a system that has unfortunately duped us, ladies, into believing that our instinct, aka our anxiety, our generalized anxiety, is something to ignore, something to get rid of. And I say, fuck that. Fuck the patriarchy. Get in tune with where your body is and really listen. That first thought, the thought that keeps coming back, that voice that says, but you're not allowed to, I'm not advocating for violence, I'm advocating for you. Right? That thought that keeps coming back. That little voice, like, that's your intuition. I think us as women are so disconnected from our intuition because of all the anxiety that we experience. We have to learn to turn it all off and dismiss our body cues, dismiss our gut cues. We know in our gut when something is wrong, but so much of society has convinced us to prove that wrong, to ignore it, to push it away. Again, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm advocating for you to take that anxiety and treat it like intuition and create yourself a plan of action to honor that intuition. Now, I understand generalized anxiety disorder. I am not discounting that. I'm not saying there's no such thing as anxiety. I'm just saying, in a general sense, let's take some of this anxiety and separate it from our intuition. Let's get to know our bodies. Let's get in tune with ourselves. And if something keeps coming up, let's look into it. Let's not ignore it. If a feeling comes up about a person, a situation, a thing, a thought, let's look into it. Let's not just dismiss it. Let's not just call it anxious thoughts, but also have systems and methods in place for generalized anxiety disorder. I'm all about that. I'm not dismissing that. Anxiety is real, but we also have intuition. And this is a great time to turn inward and ask the body what it needs. Ask yourself what you need to nurture yourself during this stage of healing. Underneath numbness, like I said earlier, there's grief. So on top of the 3 steps, grief comes in there, and you've got your stages of grief. Not about what happened to you, but also that all the other stuff has happened as well. Like, you could have a traumatic event, a hard childhood, something that really, really got you. and still have had to survive through all of it. So grief about the event, grief about the hurt, and grief about not having any help or being seen along the way. And I'm also talking about the grief that lives in the gap between what you expected healing to feel like and what it actually feels like. The grief of realizing that no one's coming to save you. That this healing has to happen from the inside out. This is all you're doing, all your responsibility. I mean, even grieving that you have to go numb in the first place. Grieve the connection and the aliveness that feels so far away. Sometimes the hardest part isn't what we feel, it's what we don't feel. This grief is real and it deserves a space. Because here's what I've learned. Sometimes we have to grieve our numbness before we can release it. We have to acknowledge what it cost us to survive. We have to honor the part of us that went quiet to fucking stay safe, to survive. So I invite you, take a nice deep inhale with me, a deep breath. Breathe in. Let that belly expand as big as you can. And as you exhale, let all that air out and ask yourself, what am I grieving that no one sees? You don't have to answer it out loud. You don't have to figure it out. Just let that question land. Let it be a thought you think about. Because acknowledging the grief is sometimes the first crack in the wall. Sometimes letting yourself be sad about being numb is the beginning of feeling again. So what actually helps when you're in shutdown? Not the Instagram worthy healing tips, not the just think positive advice crap, not the pressure to feel grateful or embodied or alive. I just want to talk about what really works when your nervous system has gone offline. Instead of expecting a breakthrough, what if your only job today is to breathe without holding your breath? That's it. Just breathe. Don't hold your breath throughout the day. Instead of forcing yourself to feel any sort of way, just let yourself exist without fixing anything. Healing in shutdown requires us to make everything smaller, gentler, more possible. Meet yourself where you are at. And I'm going to say it again. Gently witness yourself. Like the way you would sit with someone who's in pain, sit with yourself that way. Not trying to fix yourself, not trying to force yourself to be better, not offering solutions or silver linings, just being present, just holding your hand, just patting your back, just understanding and staying. Can you do that for yourself? Witness it without trying to change it. And numbness lives in the body. So work with the body. And start small. Once again, gentle, baby, compassionate steps. Touch something with an interesting texture. Have a good fidget. Put some ice cubes in a Ziploc bag and just fidget with the ice cubes. Bask in the sunlight like a lizard on a rock. Just sit in the sun for a little bit. Get your favorite scent, a nostalgic scent, a new scent, essential oils. Get a roller ball, roll that on your wrist, roll it on your neck. Enjoy the scent. It's not about trying to feel better. It's just trying to feel. And you don't need to do intense workouts to move the body. Gentle stretching, putting your legs up the wall, very simple pose, very simple stretch. 20 minutes of that is such a chef's kiss refresher. You don't have to do a lot to do body movement if you don't want to, or if you're not capable of it, if that's not where you're at. Sway to music in your kitchen. Shake your hands like you're shaking off water. Roll your shoulders, tilt your head side to side. Movement can unlock what thinking cannot. And try to reframe. Instead of saying, I can't feel anything, try to say, I'm learning how to feel safe. I'm learning what safety feels like. My system is protecting me while I build safety. I'm exactly where I need to be in this moment. Again, we're not looking for joy. We're looking for the tiniest moments of not terrible. The way light hits something, the way a song gets you to hum along, a nice texture of clothing or your clean sheets, a validation from someone who gets it, a quote, a text, a comment. They're not solutions. It's just breadcrumbs to leading you back to aliveness. I want to tell you something because I think it's important. If you're listening to this episode, if you found this episode resonating with you, it means you haven't given up. It means you're still reaching. It means you're still coming toward healing, toward growth. Even if that wanting is quiet or buried under layers of protection, you're telling yourself there's another way, and your nervous system is ready. It's healing. This is a sign. And honestly, to be real with you, yes, there are big moments in healing, big, dramatic, wonderful, Instagram-worthy moments. But most healing happens in quiet moments, in the daily choices to be gentle with yourself. When you decide to keep showing up even when you feel nothing at all. And the commitment you're making to yourself right now to honor your pace when we live in a world that is just telling us to hurry up. You're not taking too long. You're thawing slowly, safely, and in your perfect timing. Take a nice, deep breath, if you will. Breathe in slowly, and as you do, whisper to yourself, I am not broken. And as you breathe out, whisper to yourself, I am becoming. Inhale deeply. Once more. This time tell yourself, my numbness is not the end of my story. Exhaling out, I am exactly where I need to be. This is a chapter, a pause, a moment of protection. And when your body is ready, in its own time, in its own way, you will feel again. The tears will come. The laughter, the deep belly laughter will come. The love that you used to have that was fierce and unwavering will come. Until then, just let your pace be sacred. And ask yourself, what would it look like to honor the part of me that's still thawing? Maybe it's trusting that numbness is part of your healing, not proof that healing isn't happening. Well, my dears, I hope you can take what resonated with you today and leave what doesn't. And please always remember, you're not behind. You're not broken. You are right on track. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me with your tender places and for continuing to show up for your own healing journey. If you've heard anything in here that spoke to you, if you heard yourself in these stories, please share it with someone who needs this reminder too. Your story matters, your way of thinking matters, and you don't have to do this alone. I'd love to hear from you. Message, comment, follow. Like I said earlier, I offer private sessions virtually for therapy if you're in Texas and virtually for life coaching if you're outside the state or abroad. Whether you're healing from trauma, navigating a big life shift, or just ready to come home to you, sis, I hold space for women just like you each and every day of the week, and it is my honor and pleasure to continue to do that. I feel so blessed. If it's something you're curious about, fill out a consultation form in the show notes in the link tree. While you're there, check out my badass Spotify playlist called Divine Women. It's made for women, healing through softness and empowerment and in strength. And there's a couple other resources, I think a couple of ADHD resources. You're never too much, never too late, and you're never too far gone. And you don't have to figure it out all alone. Until next time, may you be happy and free. May mine and your healing ripple outwards to bless the world with happiness and freedom. Take care of you, and I'll see you soon.